Hi, I'm Father Jeff Baye from Closer Walk. You know what? If God is so great and God is so wonderful and God is so loving, then how come there's so much suffering? How come there's so much pain? How come there's so much loss? How come there's so much disease in this world? It's a good question. And a lot of people approach God from the standpoint of view of the God of, what can you do for me today? And when we look at God as someone who we've been created in his image and likeness, and he loves us like he loves his only son, then we have to realize what his son went through. We oftentimes think that any type of suffering, any type of pain is a sign that God is mad at us. God is punishing us. God doesn't care for us. And so we go through life and we say, why me, God? Why me? Well, let me be clear. You know, the fact that some people are killed tragically in car accidents, the fact that some people get diseases, guess what? God gives us free will. And a lot of times it's man's free will that's responsible for man's demise. But nonetheless, when suffering occurs, and it will occur, because it happened to his son, and if there was anyone who was innocent, if there was anyone who just did good things, if there was anyone who never hurt anybody, it was his son. And yet his son had to suffer. And you remember his great statement in the Garden of Gethsemane? Father, if this cup should pass, then let it pass, but not thy will, my will, but thy will be done. And the reality is suffering is part of life. But when we approach suffering and say, why? It's the wrong question. You ever got an answer to that question? Me neither. The question is what? What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn through the suffering and the trial that God has put me through? His suffering brought us everlasting life. What does my suffering bring out in life? What's better? What's stronger? What do I know different? Because I've been through this trial. I've been through this tragedy. I've been through this pain. And when the Lord asks us to suffer with him, we can either think that he's mad at us, or we can think he's inviting us into a closer relationship. But the big thing we need to understand is so many of us approach God from the standpoint of view of, this is what God owes me. God doesn't owe us anything. For all the things that I have on a daily basis, I can walk, I can talk, I can see, I can hear. How many of us feel a need to praise God and to give back to God for everything he's done? Very few people do. But when they lose it, there's this huge attitude. God has really stuck me. The reality is, unless we learn to be grateful in the midst of our blessings, we'll always be bitter in the middle of our loss. Suffering is part of the invitation to come follow me, but so is new life. And when we ask what and not why, that new life occurs. God bless you. Thank you for being with us.